Si je me baisse, ils vont venir vers moi car alors nous aurons la même taille. Je fais ça pour vous montrer comme ils sont lâches, pas pour les taquiner, mais aussi pour faire monter mon taux d'adrénaline. Dès que vous leur tournez le dos, ils vous attaquent. Dès que vous les regardez dans les yeux, ils ont peur de vous. Si vous courez, vous êtes une proie. Si vous vous retournez, ils ont peur et s'arrêtent. Ils en ont assez, ils ont trop peur de moi.
Man is a singular creature. He has a set of gifts which make him unique among the animals, so that, unlike them, he is not a figure in the landscape, he is the shaper of the landscape. This is the Pacific Ocean. The California Indians used to say that at full moon, the fish came and danced on these beaches. And it's true that there is a local variety of fish, the grunion, that comes up out of the water and lays its eggs above the high tide mark. The females bury themselves tail first in the sand, and the males gyrate or dance round them and fertilize the eggs as they're being laid. The full moon is important because it gives 9 or 10 days between these very high tides and the next ones that will wash the hatched fish out to sea again. Every landscape in the world is full of these exact and beautiful adaptations by which an animal fits into its environment like one cogwheel into another. Millions of years of evolution have shaped the grunion to fit and sit exactly with the tides. But nature, that is evolution, has not fitted man to any specific environment. On the contrary, by comparison with the grunion, he has a rather crude survival kit. And yet, this is the paradox of the human condition, one that fits him to all environments. His imagination, his reason, his emotional subtlety and toughness make it possible for him not to accept the environment, but to change it. And that series of inventions by which man from age to age has remade his environment is a different kind of evolution, not biological, but cultural evolution. I call that brilliant sequence of cultural peaks the ascent of man. Fire is the symbol of the hearth, and from the time Homo sapiens began to leave the mark of his hand 30,000 years ago, the hearth was the cave. For at least 1 million years, man, in some recognizable form, lived as a forager and a hunter. We have almost no monuments of that immense period of prehistory, so much longer than any history that we record. Only at the end of that time, on the edge of the European ice sheet, we find, in caves like Altamira here and elsewhere in Spain and southern France, the record of what dominated the mind of man, the hunter. There we see what made his world and preoccupied him. Knowledge of the animal that he lived by and stalked. When we reflect, what is remarkable is not that there are such few monuments, but that there are any at all. Man is a puny, slow, awkward, unarmed animal. He had to invent a pebble, a flint, a knife, a spear. But why to these scientific inventions, which were essential to his survival, did he from an early time add those arts that now astonish us? Decorations with animal shapes. Why, above all, did he come to caves like this, live in them, and then make paintings of animals not where he lived, but in places that were dark, secret, remote, hidden, inaccessible. The obvious thing to say is that in these places the animal was magical. but magic is a word which explains nothing. It says that man believed he had power, but what power? Here I can only give you my personal view. I think that the power that we see expressed here for the first time is the power of the forward-looking imagination. In these paintings, the hunter was made familiar with dangers which he knew he had to face, but to which he had not yet come. When the hunters were brought here into the secret dark, and the light was suddenly flashed on the pictures, he saw the bison as he would have to face him. He saw the running deer. He saw the turning boar. The moment of fear was made present to him. His spear arm flexed with an experience which he would have and which he needed not to be afraid of. We also look here through the telescope of the imagination. The imagination is a telescope in time. We are looking back at the experiences of the past. The men who made these paintings, the men who were present, looked through that telescope forward. They looked along the ascent of man, because what we call cultural evolution is essentially a constant growing and widening of the human imagination. The men who made the weapons and the men who made the paintings were doing the same thing, anticipating a future as only man can do, inferring what is to come from what is here. All over these caves, the print of the hand says that this is my mark. This is man. We're all afraid for our confidence, for the future, for the world. That's the nature of the human imagination. Yet, every man, every civilization has gone forward because of its engagement with what it has set itself to do. The personal commitment of a man to his skill, the intellectual commitment and the emotional commitment working together as one, has made the ascent of man.